So, greetings. My name is Saloni Kaul. I'm the founder and CEO of Its People, an HR business consulting firm. And today we're going to talk about reward systems as part of the YouTube playlist on performance management brought to you by HR Success Talk. So, what are reward systems? And before we talk about the system, let's talk about the reward. What is a reward? So, a reward is an incentive, it's an incentive plan to reinforce those desirable behaviors of employees that we wish them to repeat again and again in return for their service to the organization. So, as such, compensation and reward systems play a vital role in any organization. But even before rewards come into play, it's important for the employee and his manager or the employer to be very clear on what needs to be done so that they achieve the company's end goal and hence they become eligible for the rewards that the company has set out for them. And to do that, organizations want to look at reward management systems, which is basically the implementation of reward policies and strategies that looks at rewarding each employee in the organization fairly and consistently. Rewarding employees for exceptional work and performance will definitely make them feel valued and is often a powerful motivator that boosts productivity. And then the most successful reward management programs give employees opportunities to not just get rewards, but also to advance, also to allow the business to recognize good employees. So, reward management systems need have some objectives. Let's take a look at what are those factors that impact both the organization and the employee. And we should be looking at rewarding in a way that productivity is enhanced, and of course the organization and the employees stand to gain. So looking at the screen here, you can see the objectives of reward management start from attracting and retaining employees. When you're able to attract and retain employees, when you're able to motivate performance in a way and allow employees to keep improving upon their skills and knowledge, you are creating an organization, a structure, creating positivity, which helps people do more with less, which helps people perform because there is an incentive. And with these kind of high level objectives of any reward management system, if they are taken into consideration, then organizations can certainly design a reward management system that meets the objective, the end goal of the organization, and also makes sure that the employees are happy with it. So, what's the process of reward management? As you can see, we first develop a reward management program. We design it, we develop it, we look at various aspects that goes into creating one. Then comes the implementation. We have a procedure, a process where the implementation happens. Now, the implementation is not just about communication, it's also about understanding what will go into, who are the people who will do what. So it's basically setting down the context and also then who's responsible for what part of the process so that the reward management implementation can happen glitch free. Then next comes maintenance, which is basically how do you ensure that once you have a reward management system in place, it is adhered to. Are we looking at it? Are we measuring it? Are we analyzing it? Are we improving it? So there is where we look at the maintenance step. Fourthly, it's about communication. Now, any communication is not enough. So the more the communication, the more the interactions with employees, the more they know what is the eligibility criteria, the more they are encouraged to apply for those rewards, to make sure that they are qualifying for those rewards. The more the communication, the better the chances of employees rising to the occasion and actually applying for rewards or getting nominated for rewards and finally receiving them. And once employees receive them, we also want to make sure that everybody comes to know. So, more communication around the winners, more communication around the rewards that we are giving out to our employees for good work done, for good behaviors. And this sets the stone for organizations to keep rewarding their employees, their performers, and the people who have taken and gone beyond and done stuff which was not even expected. These could be certain ways and methods in which organizations can look within and see, are they doing enough in these areas. So that was the reward management process for all of you. Let's look at some of the factors that need to be considered when designing a reward system. So obviously, setting a clear objective is important, which we just did, and comprehending the requirements. What are those requirements of an ideal reward system? And this would be just the basic thing that we need to use to make sure that we have an effective reward system. Besides this, we also need to consider the feasibility before we move into the designing stage. So, some questions here for you to reflect upon, such as, should a reward system be used to motivate or just reinforce behavior? Are we only looking at results? Are we only looking at behaviors? Where does the organization wants to position itself in, with respect to its other competitors in the market? At what percentile? And here we are talking about the compensation part, because compensation is a very important aspect of the total rewards opportunity. Next, what percentage of total rewards will be dispersed in the form of cash or stock or even other benefits? So these are very important questions that need to be answered, that needs to be discussed before a design of the reward system can actually happen. And then last but not the least, how much leverage should variable rewards be given? For example, how much pay should be at risk at different levels of the organization, so that while we are definitely looking at creating more productivity, more motivation, we must also ensure that we are getting there is how much pay should actually be at risk, so that even if there is a certain percentage, employees still feel motivated to work for it. And if they lose out, they're not too much disheartened because they lost out on those rewards. So it's creating a fine balance and really understanding as an organization, as the management leadership team, as HR professionals. These are some questions to ponder over before you start creating and designing your own reward management systems. Let's look at the benefits of having a reward management system in the very first place. So, this is a no brainer. A reward management system allows recognition for employees' efforts in which they are positive and their contributions are highlighted. It encourages communication, it encourages troubleshooting any small issues that could potentially escalate, right? The clear objectives that are set also allows employees to develop their skills further within the organization. It also helps them get clarity as to what is expected of them and how would they go about developing themselves, their own individual development plan, so that they're able to reach for the stars and they're able to perform, they're able to contribute towards the organization goals, and as such become eligible for those rewards which are truly spectacular and truly for those performers who are basically the star performers. A reward management system also helps in increasing employees' retention. Yes, creating a stable workforce, very important, motivated to acquire their skills and knowledge from management tools that are provided. These are simple and yet very important benefits that an organization can reap by instituting a reward management system within themselves. Let's look at the type of reward. So there are various ways to classify rewards. Let's look at these three categories: intrinsic versus extrinsic based rewards, and there's performance based rewards, and then there's financial versus non financial rewards. Let's look at them one by one. So, intrinsic versus extrinsic. Let's look at what is intrinsic. These are basically rewards that are not tangible, but yet they result in higher levels of job satisfaction. For example, an impressive job title, career growth, and personal achievements, and meaning and purpose. These are some of the ways in which intrinsic rewards are given. Extrinsic rewards are those tangible rewards that employees receive upon doing good work. And these, of course, include bonuses, raises, gifts, etc. So while intrinsic makes employee feel valued, extrinsic rewards focus on improving employees' performance through appreciation. And so it is necessary to find a balance between the two. Let's look at the second category. This is financial versus non-financial. So financial rewards contribute to the overall employees' financial well-being, and therefore it will include bonuses, salary raises, etc. So this is basically the cash component that organizations provide. The non-financial type of rewards would be based on, let's say, memberships like gym membership or parking spaces, or even the kind of cubicle you sit or where you sit in the organization. So these are some of the non-financial rewards that an organization can provide, as you can see. Last but not the least, the non-financial rewards are feasible for companies to reward their employees because they have a long-term effect as compared to financial rewards. So employees are more likely to keep enjoying these benefits. They're more comfortable even about discussing their rewards. And for the same level of performance, the financial incentives that are required higher investment. So when you go with non-financial, you're not spending too much, but the benefit that accrues to the employee and his motivation and morale is equal, if not more, than when you would have spent financial incentives that are being provided. It's as such, it's a more affordable option for small businesses and startups. So those were the types of rewards. The performance-based rewards are allocated based on the performance of an employee within an organization, within his own department or division. And the performance-based rewards are given in pay plans, the incentive systems, group bonuses, commissions, etc. So those were the three categories of rewards. And now let's look at some barriers. So having closely examined and analyzed companies' employee reward systems over a long period of time, what has consistently emerged is that while rewards continue to be at the heart of all talent management activities, successfully managing the employee reward program still is difficult and sometimes a challenge. And these are three major barriers. Number one, rewards are not understood by the people. They don't understand why the reward is being given, probably because the design part, something was lacking, or there was not enough communication around it. Then, second, rewards are not linked to the organization's business. Again, here the design part clearly shows that what went into the design phase. Did we have discussions? Did we really understand what is it that we were rewarding for? So, if the organization has no linkage to performance or the goals of the business, and yet it is having some kind of a reward system, then the rewards not linked to organization business would not yield any productivity or real good results that the organization is expecting to benefit from. And hence, this is an area that needs to be introspected further. Third, the rewards are not linked to the employee performance. So you might have come across such examples where a person was rewarded, but you couldn't understand why was the person rewarded, because obviously his performance was not great shakes. So these are some of the barriers that, or rather, certain mistakes that organizations uh, face, or they have those errors in their reward systems, which need to be looked at, which need to be introspected, so that those can be corrected. And it can be a rewarding experience, not just for employees who receive these rewards, but also mutually it is of importance to the organization themselves. So these are some of the barriers. Let's look at now what are the characteristics of effective reward system. So an effective reward system should really have the following four major characteristics. Number one, the person receiving the reward should value it. It should not go unappreciated or unutilized or not having any significance. It should have. Number two, the reward must be distributed in a fair and equitable manner, which means that the rewards should not be given out in a way that makes people question, that makes people feel that yes, it was not fair. People who deserved it didn't get it. So we must make sure that these are the areas where we are, taking, cognizance of, and we are taking the right action, the right foot forward. Rewards should be visible. Remember, we spoke about communication. So if you've rewarded someone, announce it. If you rewarded someone, make sure that people come to know about it, because it is not just the receiving the reward, it's also about the announcements, also about making it public, so that more and more people know about it. That's the value that a reward that is made public holds. So make sure that we do that. So that's the third characteristic. The last is, in order to respond to changes in performance, rewards should be flexible. So I know of organizations who have different categories of rewards, and it all depends upon, like, they have rewards like you have a bronze reward, or you have an award for silver performance, or gold, or platinum performance. So according to the changes in performance, rewards should also be characterized such that everybody gets to know that, okay, this is what the person has done, and it is equitable, it is fair, it is visible, and the person who's receiving it is also valuing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, these were some of the characteristics of an effective reward system. Now, what should be the ideal components of a reward system? And this is again a no brainer, but nonetheless, let's look at what are those four requirements. Number one, the compensation. Everybody works for your basic pay and monthly salary. So that's one, very important part of one's reward system. The total rewards, as we call it. Next is the benefit, which is basically the sharing of the organizational profit. It can come in the form of a bonus or any other type of staff welfare that the organization is providing. Number three is recognition. We've been talking about rewards. So even people want to be recognized for their effort and good work. So this should be part of the total rewards system, such that organizations create opportunities for staff so that they get more exposure, they gain recognition, and this helps them to even perform better. Then the fourth component is about appreciation. The firm should show appreciation, should actually reward employees for their star or stellar achievements. And this way, the firm can show its appreciation by promotions and by giving out awards to its top performers. So, those were the four main components or requirements of an ideal reward system. Very simple, very easy, and yet very important. Let's now look at the efficient way of designing a reward system. So, what are those three aspects that go into designing a reward system? Number one, all reward systems need to be designed based on the core principles of the organization. This is the key value. So, organizations must support its employees in developing trust in the basic core principles and values. The belief in pay for performance or pay secrecy or any other essential long term commitments, such as long service awards, these can all be core principles. So, whatever be those core principles, one should stick to it. Number two is process features. The reward system's implementation within the organization is determined by its process, the way it gets handled. So, instead of reminding employees of the consequences of failing to meet the aim, the reward system should actually emphasize the benefits of meeting the goal. And in this way, the reward system must be tailored to the firm's process. So that's the process feature part. Last but not the least, we talk about the system practices. So the technique of rewarding employees can be determined by the practices. What are those practices? So profit sharing plans and other corporate welfare initiatives are examples of the pay delivery systems. Now, instead of paying a set wage, the company can distribute its profits by providing quarterly bonus. It may also be able to provide better facilities and healthcare benefits to its employees. So, this is one of the system's practices. Now, the manner in which an incentive system is delivered should be determined by the needs of the employees. So, if the organization has its own practice, but nowhere has it acquired or understood the needs of the employees, and in that way, the system practice would basically fail. So, the third which is the third aspect, which is system practice, very important for organization to take this input from employees, so that when we start designing and rolling out the reward system, this is truly what makes people excited and motivated and happy when they receive such rewards. So with that, we come to the end of this section. And thank you for being an attentive audience. If there are any questions, please let us know and share your comments in the comment box. Thank you.